A horrific murder of a young woman. Her body was found in a lake, tied to a cinder block. Who committed such an atrocity? Don't miss out. The psychics will strip away all the masks. You are watching Psychic Investigations, a project of true and gripping stories. Here, people who call themselves clairvoyants investigate incredible paranormal phenomena and intricate criminal cases. It was in this lake that the body of local supermarket cashier Lyudmila Zelenska was found. The killer had tied a cinder block to the back of the young woman.
It was a construction block weighing 7 kilograms bound with spring wire.
Lyudmila was only 31. She had a good job, an apartment in an upscale part of town, a loving husband, and an 8-year-old son, Bohdan. It seemed she had everything for a happy life. But fate had other plans. In an instant, a mother lost her daughter, a man lost his wife, and a child lost his mother.
Bohdan. He's like a piece of Lyudmila left behind. She wanted that child so much.
Lyudmila was last seen alive on August 31st. She had prepared her son for his first day of school, laid out new clothes, notebooks, and flowers for him.
She was getting ready for September 1st. She was always there for Bohdan's celebrations.
But it was the father who took the boy to school. At the ceremony, he seemed deeply unsettled as his wife had vanished.
Everyone was alarmed by the fact that Lyudmila hadn't shown up.
I called her 8 times on September 1st. She didn't answer. By the second, her phone was dead and out of range.
I knew Lyudmila as highly responsible. She would never miss work, never skip her shift without warning. That wasn't typical of her.
A week later, the young woman was found dead in the lake. A local man spotted her body.
The man had stepped out onto his balcony, which overlooked the park lake. He saw the silhouette of a human body and called the police.
A cinder block was tied to the woman's body, so the theory of suicide or accident was ruled out immediately. There was no water in her lungs, which means she entered the lake already dead.
I only recognized her by her earrings. I bought them for her as a birthday present.
The terrible news spread through the town like wildfire. Locals were paralyzed with horror. Many knew the beautiful cashier, and her death was not just shocking. It was incomprehensible, since she had no enemies.
She was pure gold of a person. I don't think I'll ever have another friend like her.
She never wished harm to anyone, never crossed anyone.
So who killed the beautiful young woman? Why and how remains a mystery. The police hope the psychics will help uncover the killer's trail.
The crime caused a massive stir.
The police did a lot, but they couldn't find out who did it or when. That's why I turned to the psychics.
Psychics Zhanna Shulakova and Ilona Kaldre agreed to help the grieving mother. They began working with Lyudmila's photo, setting out for the journey.
I'm trying to tune into the last day of her life. I see a lot of water, but it wasn't the cause of death.
Lyudmila's death has something to do with a decision, her own. It wasn't suicide, but a choice that led to her death. She died because of love. I don't yet understand who loved whom, or why that feeling led to murder, but I'll find out on sight.
12 years ago, Olha became a widow. Her husband died after a long illness. She worked hard to raise her children, Lyudmila and her older brother, Oleksiy.
Lyudmila was kind, hard-working, and devoted to her children, just like her mother.
After her husband's death, Olha thought things couldn't get worse. But then, fate took her daughter too.
She even told me she didn't wish to live.
I would like to die, but for her to be alive.
The psychics arrived in town early. Lyudmila's mother was already waiting at her building.
Hello,
Hello?
my daughter Lyudmila died, and we don't know who did it, when or where. We hope you can help us.
She was found in water in the same area where she lived.
Still water, I'm drawn over there.
She loved water. I even feel like I want to live near it.
Exactly. She only wanted to live in that area because it's beautiful and has a lake. I felt drawn to the lake every day until they found her.
After Lyudmila's death, her husband, Volodymyr, and their son moved to another town. The man couldn't bear to live where he'd lost his beloved wife.
Her husband definitely grieved. She meant a lot to him.
At her grave, Volodymyr knelt, crossed himself, and cried. It was clear how deeply he was hurting.
And for little Bohdan, his mother's death was too traumatic. He withdrew and stopped speaking to anyone.
It was a brutal trauma for the child.
I see him weeping and having some issues that require treatment.
He screamed madly and spent 2 months in a neuropsychiatric hospital.
Lyudmila's son is now 10. He knows his mother was murdered, but no one has been able to tell him who did it or why. Could the psychics provide the answer?
I see the last image you saw in your eyes. Her fair hair and some kind of angelic feeling. Something long and white. Like a bride.
On the day I saw her the last time, she was wearing a long white sundress.
You stare out the window and see a fair-colored car pull up.
That was on the 31st. I was waiting for her to come.
That day, Lyudmila arrived at her mother's for flowers for her son's first day of school.
Zhanna, the car. I see 2 people inside, a man and a woman. What do you sense about the man?
He's short, and he's around 30. And he looks...
A sharp nose.
That's her friend's husband. Lyudmila visited them. Irina and Serhiy.
On August 31st, Lyudmila spent the day at the local beach with her friend Irina, her husband, and their son.
We took some food and went to the riverside to swim and sunbathe. Then we went to my place and made a pizza. After we ate, my husband drove her home.
After spending time at the beach until 5 p.m., the husband of Lyudmila's friend drove her home in his car.
She was striking, beautiful, stylish, and always well put together.
She was so beautiful. We always complimented her. Even women at the beach would say how stunning she was.
She truly blossomed in the last year. To me, she was so beautiful, like someone you'd paint.
It's so strange. Her husband was so much older than her that he could be her father.
Lyudmila's husband, Volodymyr, was indeed 28 years older than her.
She worked as a cashier at the store near his place. He was a regular customer. He'd tell her how lonely he was, how empty his home felt, and how it needed a woman.
She said he was better than her other suitors. Those were still boys. Some smoked weed, while others drank. But he was more serious and reliable. He treated her well.
He'd visit her at work to bring roses and cakes.
She was like his last autumn leaf. His final love, the one he clung to.
She was looking for someone to be like a father to her, someone who'd protect her and make her happy. You're a widow, aren't you?
Yes.
She mourned her father for a long time.
When Lyudmila met Volodymyr, she was 21, while he was nearly 50. She felt like a little girl and safe again. Even his name was the same as her father's.
Her husband resembled her father.
Were you against the relationship?
Yes, I was. When I found out his age,
He adored her. He carried her in his arms and hugged and kissed her. He was always by her side.
She was proud to be his wife. She took care of him. She bought him clothes and dressed him up.
No one believed the marriage would last. But they lived together for 10 years, until the day she disappeared.
I have the impression she was completely naked.
There's something.
Underwear.
Given the victim's age and the condition she was found in, nearly naked, this crime may have been sexually motivated.
The last time Lyudmila's mother saw her alive, she was with her friend's husband, the man who drove her home. Could he be the killer?
Do you have anything that belonged to your daughter? Something to help us tune into that day?
Yes, her earrings.
So strange. It feels like a step toward what happened next. I think we need to go to her home.
This is where Lyudmila lived most recently.
On August 31st, I drove her home. Her mother gave her flowers and something else. I dropped her off at the building and left.
We verified if Serhiy could be involved. He didn't have time to commit the crime, as he returned home quickly.
But what was next? How did Lyudmila end up dead in the lake?
She definitely entered the building, that's 100%.
Eyewitnesses, neighbors, and her husband all confirmed she came home after 6 p.m.
Shall we go upstairs?
I suggest we go to the apartment. Who owns the apartment? Why does it feel like a rented accommodation?
Volodymyr rented it out to tenants.
Where did he move?
To a village about 200 kilometers from here.
With the child?
Yes.
While the psychics worked near the apartment where Lyudmila spent her final hours, the police learned of their visit and came to meet them.
Hello.
Hello?
I'm the head of the local police department.
Nice to meet you.
We'd like to hear any information that could help solve this crime.
We couldn't enter the apartment.
The victim's husband told the detectives that he and his son went to bed around 9 p.m. As Bogdan had school the next morning,
He said he went to sleep, but when he woke up, she was gone.
Did the boy confirm this?
Bogdan did, yes.
The victim's husband is one of the main suspects since he was the last to see her alive.
We tested Volodymyr, Lyudmila's husband, on a lie detector and found nothing that could confirm he killed her.
I sensed that night she was standing, looking toward the water, possibly across it. She was on the phone for a long time. I hear a female voice.
it turned out that late that night, after her husband and son went to bed, Lyudmila called her cousin.
The last call was at 9:34 p.m. No further calls were made.
Lyudmila was preparing to take Bogdan to school. She bought herself a sundress, a sweater, shoes, and tights. Valentina told her what to wear.
Tell me, who found her phone and under what circumstances?
A local resident found it 2 days after her body was discovered.
Any fingerprints? Possibly any other traces?
The phone was wiped perfectly clean.
The question is, who else did she meet if she went out?
I'm sorry, I need to speak with you privately. It's not appropriate in front of her mother. I'm concerned about Lyudmila's condition. Let me explain. There was tension in the family.
What is the clairvoyant referring to? Could there have been problems in Lyudmila's family?
Olha, I sensed something. Another car came here. I see a fair-haired man. I'm absolutely certain your daughter had some kind of relationship with him. Maybe it was passion.
It's hard to believe, but we discovered that recently, Lyudmila had had a lover named Artur. He worked as a driver at the store where she was a cashier.
Artur brought her joy. I feel she looked forward to their meetings. I can't say for sure if he visited her apartment, but they met here. He waited for her sometimes. That's certain.
So perhaps on the night of her death, Lyudmila was planning to meet her lover. Is that why she left home after her husband and son went to sleep?
We identified several close relationships, including intimate ones. At the time of the crime, Artur was at home. His relatives and neighbors confirm this.
Just a moment.
Zhanna, where are you?
Let's go back. I feel Lyudmila was caught between two fires. She was thinking of ending the 10-year marriage and wondering if she should do it. I'm certain there was conflict.
There was indeed conflict. Both the husband and son confirmed it during interviews with a psychologist.
It was rooted in jealousy.
Where was she? With whom? How long was she gone?
So before her husband and son went to bed, the couple argued, and perhaps that's why she left and ended up in the hands of her killer?
Let's move toward the water. This isn't random.
Tell me, was Lyudmila undressed? Did she undress herself? Or was she stripped? Was she raped?
She was sexually attractive to the man who did it, but there was no sexual violence.
Multiple forensic tests ruled out rape.
It's possible the murderer removed her clothes to eliminate evidence.
Did she come here herself or was her body brought?
I don't see a vehicle.
She was carried down these steps. Carefully.
How many people carried her?
One, that's for sure.
He dragged her over there?
And lowered her into the water here?
Yes. She wasn't near the shore, but about 3 meters out.
I agree. He waded in up to his waist.
He brought the body first, then the weight. It was porous, like a cinder block.
He tied it here.
What unsettled me was how it was wrapped. With wire. A hard core, but soft material over it.
Stockings were used as padding.
You're absolutely right. Stockings were placed around her waist where the wire was wrapped. They were wound around the entire perimeter.
The killer was driven by a fanatical love for the victim. He treated her gently, and even after death, he didn't wish to hurt her.
I think the man who did it regretted what he was doing.
But who is the man? The police investigated everyone who had any relationship with the victim. Could they have missed something?
She was undressed. Only something here, something white. Earrings? Something else here. There are 2.
The body was found wearing only underwear and gold earrings. 2 chains, a bracelet, and 4 rings were missing.
They were carefully removed as a keepsake, taken by the man who brought the body here.
He took them.
But what caused her death?
I see him lying in his bed. Lyudmila was suffocated with something like a pillow. No one undressed her. I'm certain she undressed herself, getting ready for bed.
I don't see her clothes here. I didn't see the white dress. All I saw was a white blur in flames. The man burned it. Was it Volodymyr?
It's hard to believe. How could this be?
She lived in constant stress. He knew she had another love. She wanted to end the relationship.
A couple of weeks before her death, I asked how she was. She said, "Don't ask. I'm living in hell."
4 days before it happened, Lyudmila told her sister she was moving out because she couldn't go on.
She and Artem were planning to live together but didn't get the chance.
After death, she had to tell someone exactly what happened. She definitely appeared in someone's dream.
She appeared to her friend Natalia?
She came to me in a dream. We were sitting at a table and her husband was there. I asked, "Lyudmila, tell me what happened." She didn't respond. She just reached across the table and grabbed him by the throat to choke him.
Why did you dismiss that version?
We lacked direct evidence.
But how is that possible? The man passed the lie detector test.
Polygraph results aren't reliable in 3 cases. If the subject is under the influence of alcohol, if they're on drugs, or if they suffer from mental illness.
He's mentally unstable, that's for sure.
A mysterious death of a mother of two? Could a supernatural force have driven the woman to the other world? What secret are the victim's relatives trying to hide from the psychics? Don't miss one of the most dramatic investigations by the psychics. Welcome to Psychic Investigations, a project of exclusively true and shocking stories. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate tangled criminal cases and incredible paranormal phenomena. A small Ukrainian village. This boy's name is Vlad. He's 5. And this is his 13-year-old sister, Darina. The children spend their summers with their grandmother, and then their father takes them to the city in the fall. Last year, their mother, 30-year-old Irina Osipchuk, passed away.
Losing your child is the most terrible thing ever.
Irina worked as a baker at the local bakery. The night before her death, she was doing a night shift when she suddenly received a call on her mobile phone.
When she answered, she talked in a raised voice, got angry, and then threw the phone at the tiles, shattering it. Then she took out the SIM card and started chewing it.
She chewed her SIM card until it broke.
Nobody knows who phoned Irina or why. However, after the call, she dropped her work and left without finishing her shift, but she never got home. Early in the morning, she appeared at her parents' house, 12 kilometers from the city where she worked and lived with her husband and children. A few hours later, her parents found her dead in bed, with her veins slit on both wrists.
I called an ambulance. I screamed, "Hurry up!" I didn't know what had happened.
How could this happen out of the blue? She was a loving wife and a good housekeeper.
According to the official version of the police, Irina committed suicide. Apparently, she took her father's razor blades, slit her veins, and lay there, bleeding to death. However, no explanation has been found as to why she might have done this.
My sister was a wonderful housekeeper. She cooked, she did the laundry, and always kept her home clean.
The family are still haunted by questions. Why did Irina come to her parents in the middle of the night? And why did she die such a horrible death?
She was such a life-loving person. She was always happy. I can't believe she did this.
The family doesn't believe that the loving mother could have committed suicide and left her underage children behind. However, before her death, the woman seemed to be in a kind of trance.
Some evil force simply worked against her, did its part.
Psychics Olga Kalinova and Yakiv Schneerson will attempt to clarify if it's true.
Olga, what's wrong with you? Driver, stop! Are you unwell, Olga? What did you sense?
I need fresh air. I felt sick because I sensed all the pain the woman experienced before her death. It was horrifying. I felt like I was bleeding myself.
I see that before Irina's death, a woman was chasing her. But I don't understand if it was a living woman or a spirit or some entity.
And I see a large square. There are many people there, and it's like someone is being led to execution. They're going to execute a woman, and the people are watching. Among those condemning her is another woman. I don't see her face. But then she raises her head, the hood falls, and do you know who I see? The woman whose death we're investigating.
Come in. Hello?
Hello?
I need to work.
Olga Kalinova is using a strange tool today. She says she received it from a Tibetan colleague.
I'd like to check something in the yard.
Meanwhile, Yakiv Schneerson goes to the house where the tragedy occurred.
I saw a man's spirit wandering around in the yard.
Olga? Olga, come here. Please tell me, did she die here?
Yes.
Irina arrived at her parents around 4 in the morning, but she left work at 8 the previous evening. Nobody knows where she was for 8 hours and why she didn't head home. She was acting very strangely, ignoring any questions. Her parents simply decided to put her to bed. Her husband was supposed to pick her up the next day after work, but she died by morning.
I see a man. He enters and he's pacing around here.
Olga Kalinova saw the spirit of a man in the yard, but who is he? And is he somehow connected to the young woman's death?
A man found her.
Her father.
There's something with his throat. He's pointing at it.
Yes, he had a tumor on his carotid artery.
Unable to bear his daughter's death, Irina's father passed away from cancer a year later.
He loved her a lot. The grief of losing his daughter ate him away from the inside.
He didn't discuss it with us. Whenever we brought it up, he started crying.
The man also blamed himself for not sensing anything that terrible night and for not hiding his razor blades. But what caused Irina to do such a horrifying thing? Who phoned her before her death and why? Where was she for half the night? Why didn't she go home to her husband and children? Olga Kalinova asks to leave her alone in the house, and Yakiv Schneerson goes outside with Irina's mother and sister.
I see the day when it happened. You know, she walks in, and she's restless as if something is taking possession of her. She's not herself. It's like there's an internal conflict going on inside her head.
Yakiv!
Olga, what is it?
Over here!
What happened?
The psychic's nose starts bleeding. What happened?
I tuned into the last moments of Irina's life and felt all the pain she was going through. I had the feeling that she was alone in the world. It seems like there was some kind of explosion in your daughter's head.
She arrived in a taxi, lay down on the bed, and covered herself. I said, "Tell me what happened. Where were you? And why are you here?" But she wouldn't say a word. I don't know what happened while she was at work. All I know is that someone called her. And after that, she smashed her phone and left work.
We need to go to the cemetery. It'll be easier to find out the truth there. She says some kind of force was pulling her there. It was so strong that it didn't let her live.
The family say that about 6 months before her death, Irina indeed became very strange.
She communicated with us, but at the same time, she was absent. Like her body was here, but she was elsewhere. Like her soul was gone.
I see a man.
He has fair hair cut short, and his eyes are light.
That's Irina's husband.
He hides his eyes. He shows bruises. She feels humiliation and pain.
He never abused her.
They were openly lying to us. I felt that Irina's husband beat her.
Irina's spirit is terribly anxious for some reason.
Because both her mother and sister were trying to hide something from us. He beat her, and I can't stand these lies.
He only hit her once in front of me. I only witnessed it once.
But it happened more than once.
Really? I didn't know that.
We need to talk to her husband.
He's at work now.
Do you have his number?
Serhi. The psychics would like to talk to you. No, he refuses to talk.
Before Irina's death, their relationship had deteriorated. When I understood this, her spirit told me, "Follow me, and I'll tell and show you everything."
Irina's spirit is calling us. Can we go where she worked?
The psychics are immediately heading to the bakery where Irina worked. Perhaps they'll be able to find out about the strange call. After which Irina smashed her mobile and ate her SIM card.
The first thing Irina's spirit told me about was her relationship with her husband. His interest in me faded. If I did something he didn't like, he'd beat me. He used to teach me like I was a child. I tuned into her. Her spirit shows me some internal betrayal. He seemed to reevaluate his values, and he became more interested in work and money.
He only wanted to earn as much money as possible.
The couple had a significant age difference. When they got married, Irina was very young, straight out of high school.
Her husband treated her like a child. He believed he had the right to shape her life as he saw fit. And this severely depressed her as a person. She would run away because she felt no support. She couldn't live like that because she wanted understanding.
Here, Irina found some salvation, and her profound loneliness ended.
I understand what you're talking about.
You see, she discovered a refuge of some sort. Do you understand what I mean?
I do get you.
6 months before Irina's death, her family noticed that she started talking to someone on the phone. Then, she started disappearing. As it turned out, she had fallen in love. His name is Tolik.
I told her, Irina, what connects you with this man? She said, nothing. But I heard her talking to him, and I secretly found his phone number and called him. I introduced myself as Irina's mother and said, what kind of relationship do you have with her? And he answered, I love your daughter. I asked, do you know she has 2 children? He said, I do. So I told him, as a mother, I'm begging you, back off and don't destroy the family.
You met the man.
I never saw him.
You were in his house.
I was there, but I only saw his mother. It's just that Irina didn't come home for the night. So I got worried and thought she was with Tolik. So I went to see his mother and we talked. I asked her to tell her son.
Not to ruin what she had.
Not to ruin her family.
We were trying to save what was left of it, despite it wasn't we'd like it to be. She attempted to conceal this relationship.
Because your family lived by certain traditions and rules, would you have understood her? She was confused herself, you know? Do you really think she did this because she was frivolous? Irina simply wanted to love and be loved.
We need to speak to that man.
Let's go to the place where he lives.
Do the Stepwars live here?
Why are you asking? No, not here.
But they do.
Good luck then.
Here, the first door.
Where do they live?
Don't film anything, goodbye.
As it turned out, these are Tolik's relatives, his aunt and uncle. It seems we can't talk to Irina's lover.
A woman's spirit emerged. What's your name?
I see the letter A.
I see an image of a woman with her hands folded like this. She's praying. And the prayer gives meaning to her life. She's drawing something with my hand. It's a place. Rocks. Like a fortress or something.
There's a fortress in the downtown.
It turns out, Oksana means the fortress built by Prince Konstantin Ostrogsky in the 16th century.
We need to go there.
Who is the female spirit, whose name starts with an A that the psychic saw? And why did she call them here?
I feel her presence. She emerged again.
She's walking around us. She's wearing white. This woman is a widow. She married a man who was much older than her. She wasn't happy because he died quickly. She's over there now.
She stood there like she didn't know where else to go. She was obviously giving us a sign.
I see iron on her arms, and there's some kind of metal belt. She used it to suppress her love.
We consulted a historian. He identified the spirit the psychics described as Anna Aloysia Hodkiewicz.
She was born in 1600. When she turned 18, her mother started looking for a husband for her, and thus, she married Jan Hodkiewicz, the Lithuanian hetman. He was 60 and she was 19. A few days after the wedding, he left and went to Khotyn, where the Khotyn War was underway. He died in that war. After her husband's death, she wore a wire belt. People use such methods to control their vices.
She punished other women during her lifetime for what she thought was improper behavior. She punished them for infidelity and inappropriate conduct in society. She decided their fates.
After her husband's death, she had a very negative attitude towards secular life. Anna Aloysia presided over the noble court. People were quartered, had their hands cut off, burned with pitch, hanged, and had their tongues torn out.
At that moment, I didn't understand why the spirit appeared. What did Irina and Anna Aloysia have in common? The only thing that was clear was that both of them were very lonely.
I felt that Irina was extremely lonely. Everyone, even her closest people, abandoned her.
Irina's mother and sister do not confirm this information. However, the victim indeed stopped communicating with them some time before her death.
Oksana would reproach her, and after her mother started doing it, she retreated into herself.
Perhaps that's why Irina refused to explain anything to her parents on the night of her death, as she knew she wouldn't find understanding. Meanwhile, we still met with Irina's husband. He refused to speak on camera, but admitted that, on the last day of his wife's life, he had promised his mother-in-law that they would divorce, and that he would definitely take the children from her.
I told my mother-in-law that if we didn't divorce, I'd make sure she's deprived of her parental rights.
Serhiy said he wouldn't give her the children.
And the man she fell in love with and hoped for support from betrayed her at the most crucial moment.
Shortly before her death, Irina talked on the phone with Tolik. He really loved her, and he dreamed of creating a family with her. But lately, he had felt tremendous pressure from his and her relatives, friends, and neighbors. Everyone thought their relationship was sinful and that it was destroying her family. Tolik told Irina he didn't want to be with her anymore. Desperate, she smashed her phone and destroyed the SIM card. Then, Irina ran away from work. Tolik became an obsession for her. She was running around the city looking for him.
A while after Irina's death, her mother met Tolik, and he told her that on the last night of Irina's life, she called him several times from unknown numbers, but he didn't want to talk to her.
It hurts her now to open her soul to you, but she understands that she just wants to bend her knees. She says, "Hear me, sister."
I'm just mad that she left her children. You need to feed your children. You need to get them on their feet and raise them. You can't just leave and abandon them.
Olga, hold her.
Olga, bring water.
Water.
Bring water.
Water.
Olga, get up.
Olga, get up.
Get up, Olga.
I felt sick because I asked Irina what had happened, and she answered, I couldn't take it anymore. I lost contact with my husband. He would have taken the children away from me anyway. My mother and sister stopped communicating with me, and the man I fell in love with betrayed me. There was no point in living anymore. Forgive me.
May she forgive us for not listening to her.
For not understanding her, for not supporting her.
At some point, I saw the spirit of Anna Aloysia again. and I finally understood that she and Irina had something in common.
The spirits of Anna Aloysia and Irina are one and the same. After her death, Anna Aloysia's soul was reborn in a new body, in Irina's body.
Yakiv, the woman we both saw, was her.
However, when we looked at the portrait of the young Anna Aloysia Hodkiewicz, we were surprised by how similar she was to Irina Osipchuk. But what does this mean?
In the past life, Anna Aloysia condemned everyone for betrayal, and after death, her spirit was reborn in Irina's body. Irina had to experience human judgment to correct the mistake of her past life. If she hadn't committed suicide, her spirit would have moved to a new level. But now this soul will have to be reborn again and go through this hell once more. She has to go through this test to correct the mistakes of her past lives.
We need to release her.
A merciless murderer from the beyond is taking the members of the same family to the other world, one by one. What skeletons are the poltergeist's victims hiding in their wardrobes? And what do they owe the ghost? Welcome to Psychics Investigate, a channel of true stories about mystical riddles and criminal cases, solved by people with extra abilities who call themselves psychics. Anna Horyacheva from Ukraine contacted the psychics, asking for help. The woman frequently sees a ghost, and she's certain it's her father.
I go to sleep, and when I wake up, I see a ghost close by. It's so close that I can feel its breath. I'm so scared.
And every time after seeing the ghost, Anna finds herself in danger. First, right in the middle of the street, she fell into a manhole. After that, Anna was almost squeezed to death by a malfunctioning elevator door. And then she was electrocuted. And last week, a motorcycle hit Anna while she was crossing the road.
I was dragged along the asphalt and thrown under a car. The drivers of the passing cars stopped and called an ambulance.
Anna is sure it's not a coincidence. Her elder sister, Lyubov, also saw the ghost fairly regularly. And she's dead now. The woman, pregnant with twins, was beaten to death by a stranger in the street.
She was all bruised. He beat her everywhere. She was pregnant. It was extremely hard to see this.
The man didn't steal anything, and he immediately fled the scene. People heard Lyubov screaming and called an ambulance. The woman was taken to the emergency department, but her injuries were fatal. Lyubov didn't survive.
I was the last one to see her in the hospital before she died. I arrived there, but she barely heard me.
Anna was looking into the eyes of her dying sister, who was whispering terrible words.
You're next. It was awful.
But the weirdest thing is that Anna's father loved his children when he was alive. There were 6 of them in the big family, 2 sons and 4 daughters, to whom their father was a model of an ideal man.
He was perfect. He had a good, mild character.
Anna's mother died when the girl was 7. The father had to raise the 6 children alone.
Of course, we had difficult times. There were 6 of us, so we always had problems with the money. But we were never hungry.
The woman says that after her mother died, her father didn't give up and did the best he could. But the terrible loss eventually broke him. The man was diagnosed with cancer. He desperately fought the condition for many years until it finally took his life.
He had pains. When Lyubov and I last saw him in the hospital, it was the first time I'd ever seen him sobbing. It was the last time we saw our father.
But even in her nightmares, Anna couldn't have imagined that her loving father could become a murderous spirit who would be hunting his own children.
I couldn't even imagine it would ever be possible.
Anna is 30. Her greatest dream is to become a mother. And she wants to marry, so she's begging the psychics to help her.
The psychics are my last and only hope.
The project's psychics, Zhanna Shulakova and Olga Kalinova from the Czech Republic, took up the investigation. They immediately set out to see Anna.
When I tuned in to their father yesterday, The cards showed me something very strange. Unrequited love, then rape.
This is horrific. Could Anna's father rape anybody?
I had a strange dream. A young woman wearing a wreath of white flowers. She held out the wreath to me and said, "I can't kill anymore." She's here, and she says her name is Ludmila. The woman showed me her grave. There were purple flowers on it, and I felt that she died in the last days of winter, almost on her birthday.
We need to ask Anna. She might know her.
Anna is a cargo crane operator. She has just finished her shift, and the psychics meet her in the downtown.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm relieved to see you.
Could you hold it, please?
Anna, did you happen to know a deceased woman named Ludmila? She died in later winter, almost on her birthday.
I have no idea who it could be.
It's weird. Then why did her spirit visit us?
Who could be pushing Anna into the other world? Is it her father? Or could it be the mysterious woman who Olga Kalinova saw in her dream?
Do you have a photo of your deceased sister?
I do.
I'd like to tune into her energy to know what kind of force took her away.
Yes, yes.
I see her next to you.
Immediately after they started talking, I felt the warmth spreading on my left arm and leg.
My feelings tell me that your sister indeed fell prey to some kind of spirit. But she claims your father didn't kill her. It wasn't him. Your father loved you a lot. He's like a guarding angel. He's protecting you. This is the only reason you're still alive.
If it's not her father, then who's to blame for Anna constantly being in danger? The energy of Anna's sister's spirit didn't let the psychics tune in and concentrate, so they went further away from the place where they communicated with the woman's spirit.
At that moment, the cards showed me another death. A young man, Anna's blood relative. He was taken away by the same otherworldly force. It must be your brother.
Yes, my elder brother. It came as a surprise for everyone. It happened before the new year. My sister called me and said our brother was dead.
This is horrendous. Another death in the family. It turned out Anna's brother Valerie had a heart attack. He was only 31.
I have a feeling that everyone in your family bears the death mark.
Could we see your other relatives now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Anna phones her sisters and brother. Soon afterward, they arrive to see the psychics.
Hello, my name is Olho.
Valentina.
Serhi.
Hold the cards in your hands, please. The moment I took the cards from Olha, I saw the same woman from my vision standing behind her. With her hand, she reached out to Olha's heart.
Ow, something's squeezing. Ouch.
Give her water. Let her sit down. Breathe. Breathe deeper. Breathe, breathe. Breathe. Take a breath. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Yes.
The dead woman did it. This is her who is killing your family. She's going to take you all away, one by one. But most probably, the dead woman didn't want to kill those people. Some kind of magic spell made her a murderer. It was done by some woman. I hear her saying, "If I don't get what is mine, I'll destroy them. They're going to die like puppies." Who could wish something like this to you?
Our neighbor. Yes, she could curse us.
The cards showed me that the woman was allegedly trying to become these children's mother, but she failed for some reason, and she's borne a grudge ever since.
She had no children.
Did she want to adopt you?
Yes.
To see if the neighbor is really connected to the deaths in the family. I tuned into the past to the moment when the children lost their mother. What I saw there horrified me. Your mother, her death was terrible.
Yes, she died, giving birth.
She delivered Serhi, and when the doctors left her, she bled to death.
But I don't understand why your neighbor wanted to take you away. You had the father.
He was disabled. He used to work at the factory and a pipe fell on his foot and injured him.
After his wife died, the man had to work several jobs to provide for his children. Once, he seriously injured his foot and ended up disabled. Social services became interested in the family right away. Fortunately, the grandmother took custody of the children.
Our grandma was a brilliant person. I'm so grateful to her that I can't.
The cards told me the same force that took 2 of her children killed your mother. And this happened because of the magic of the woman with whom your mother had a conflict. Did your mother have a conflict with your neighbor?
Yes, they conflicted a lot.
Where does that woman live?
Where we grew up.
Is it far from here?
It's 10 kilometers away.
10 minutes later, the psychics arrived there. Anna and her sisters and brother left the village long ago, and their grandmother, who they used to visit here, died a few years ago.
This is where she lives, and that is our house.
Hello. Hello. We're helping this family.
I know these ladies. Such beauties they are. They grew up without their father and mother, but how beautiful they are. But I haven't seen Serhi for a long time. I barely recognize him. Well, you look at this handsome young man.
You're saying such good things about them, but they told us you cursed them and their mother and wished them all death.
I never cursed them. God forbid. You know how it is in a village? Maybe I did get angry one day, but it's really nothing.
My cards told me that the woman didn't practice magic, and her curse was ordinary swearing. Besides, she didn't mean evil to anybody in this family. You swore because you were deeply unhappy. You couldn't control yourself, looking at the happy woman, a mother of many children. I feel now that your greatest wish in life was to give birth to a child.
Of course it was. But God's will for me was to live without any children.
You're alone and you're also alone. Help them, please. And you help her, please, as neighbors.
Thank you, children. There wasn't a day when I didn't think of you. I thought of you every day.
It turned out she never meant evil to nobody. She's unhappy, but she's not evil.
She's here, the dead woman in the wreath. She's entered the yard.
The window pane cracked. I'm terrified.
I have goosebumps.
I looked around and recognized the yard. Zhanna. The dead woman turned this house into ruins. I saw it in my vision.
The dead woman won't stop until she deals with everyone in the family. The love that was attempted to be taken by force is the reason for that. I see an outraged, offended woman in this yard. She's arguing with your mother. She's shouting, "You must leave him."
Dad?
He's a bastard. He's a rapist.
A rapist?
We don't know this woman, but there was such a story.
Grandma told us.
There was a woman who asked Dad to give her a lift on his motorcycle. Dad had an Ural with a sidecar. She asked him to give her a lift somewhere where it was too far to walk. Long story short, he did it, but she then claimed he'd raped her.
Did she tell your mother this?
Yes.
But your mother tells her to go away. She says, "You're lying, go away from here."
Wait, but the cards are telling me that your father was detained by the police because of the rape.
She complained to the police. They arrived and said he'd raped her and that they had a claim from the victim.
So they took Dad and put him in jail.
Wait. What if the woman who blamed their father put the death spell on the family and is killing all of its members.
It's quite possible. But who can tell us the truth about this woman?
Dad. Only Dad knew who she was.
We need to summon his spirit.
Where is he buried?
It's not far from here.
The father of the family and his wife and children are buried in the same cemetery. 15 minutes later, the psychics are there.
We summoned your father's spirit, but your mother is also here. She says she's happy to see you as adults. She loves you so much.
Mum, why didn't I see you in my dreams? Why won't you visit me?
Your mother says she didn't want to scare you, but she's always been around.
We miss you so much.
We miss your advice and your embrace.
I still remember her scent. I couldn't sleep. And if I did sleep, it was only pressing her gown to me. That was the only option possible. Mum, it was so hard for me.
My children, I wish I could embrace each of you. I wish I could embrace you, son, because you've never seen me in your life.
I love you too. For a moment, I felt motherly warmth, as if I was embracing my mom. I don't think you can ever feel something like this if you never saw your mother.
I've always been around. I lulled you in the cradle, and I was next to you when you were ill.
Anna recalls that after her little brother was brought from the hospital, his cradle rocked itself.
Grandma told me that she once woke up to someone singing a lullaby, and she said the cradle was rocking itself. Mom came to lull him, so he would sleep. I felt warmth in Mom's scent.
I feel like Mom is embracing me. Mom, visit us more often. It might be in a dream, but please come to talk to me.
And your father, he's standing and crying.
Wait, was your father's guilt proven in court?
No, he was released because of the lack of evidence.
This woman wanted to punish the man for his refusal to be with her. It's a revenge. The revenge caused by female jealousy.
She was head over heels in love with him, so she claimed it. So Mom would leave him because he allegedly raped someone.
I felt that the man simply talked to this woman cheerfully at some celebration. But she fell in love with him and decided to take him away from the family, whatever it took her.
She used lies and slander. But when it didn't work, the woman decided to use magic to get rid of her rivals.
She was looking for the hands that would kill the whole family. And she succeeded in it. It's the woman that you saw.
The dead woman in the wreath. She's standing behind you.
Hush, hush.
Water! Water! Water!
The woman in the wreath grabbed me by the hand. I'm all right. This woman who's killing, her grave is nearby. We need to find her real quick. Oh God, this is her, the dead woman in the wreath of white flowers. Her name is Lyudmila, the purple flowers and the date of her death, late winter. She died almost on her birthday.
We don't know this woman.
We don't even know who she was.
You don't necessarily need to know her. She doesn't want to kill you. She was forced to do so by magic. The magic was done by the woman who loved your father.
I see tiny white flowers. It's a wedding wreath.
Mom wore a similar white wreath for her wedding.
The grandmother told her grandchildren that some woman from their village asked their mother for her wedding wreath, claiming she wanted it for her own wedding.
And Mom gave her the wreath.
Your mom's rival asked the village woman to take the wreath from your mom, and then she buried it in the grave. The desperate marriage wrecker made this stranger's spirit a murderer.
And I can't take the wreath.
God, please do something.
We could only carry out the ritual to break the deal. Olga and I recited special prayers that break spells. Anna and her sisters and brother had to address the dead woman to ask her to leave them alone forever.
Lyudmila, please leave us alone. May your soul have peace. Please, I beg you, let us live normal lives.
Let go of us, please. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart.
I feel that she'll leave you. She won't touch your family, but she'll go where the guilty person is.
The woman who made her do it?
It is her right to revenge. We can't stop her.
You are going to be all right.
Thank you so much. We are extremely grateful.
A 21-year-old man was found hanged just 2 months after his wedding. Who is responsible for his death? Don't miss it. The psychics will uncover a shocking secret. This is Psychic Investigations. Only real and astonishing stories here. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate high-profile criminal cases and incredible mystical anomalies. This 21-year-old young man was named Mikhailo Sheremet. He lived in a small town in Ukraine. About a year ago, he died. His body was found on the outskirts of town, near the highway, 3.5 kilometers from home.
Everything just stopped inside me.
The deceased worked at a local restaurant as a waiter. 2 months before his death, he got married. He and his wife, Victoria Yashchenko, lived separately from their parents. He seemed happy. His whole life was ahead of him. But one Sunday evening, Mikhailo left home and never came back.
According to the official police report, Mikhailo Sheremet's death resulted from mechanical asphyxiation by hanging.
This news shocked the victim's family and friends.
He never said a bad word. He always smiled. His eyes always shone.
His loved ones don't believe that Mikhailo would have taken his own life. After all, everything seemed fine. A beautiful wife, a good job, and many plans for the future.
We don't believe he could have killed himself.
Maybe there was some conflict. It's such a shame. He was so outgoing. He was such a good boy.
The victim's family is convinced Mikhailo was murdered. During his funeral, they noticed some suspicious details.
We noticed a black and blue mark near his neck, right behind his left ear, about the size of a 5-penny coin, either from an electric shock or from being hit.
If a stun gun was used, it could have immobilized a person for up to 20 minutes. During that time, the muscles would seize up, and the victim wouldn't even be able to lift an arm. Theoretically, such a state could have been used by the killer, or killers, to put a noose around Mikhailo's neck and hang him.
To understand what really happened to Mikhailo, his family turned to people with extraordinary abilities.
We want the psychics to help us learn the truth about how our son died. Because I just can't believe it.
Psychics Kayal Alekperov and Zhanna Shulakova begin working with a photograph of the deceased.
I sense that some woman was involved in this young man's death. I see a rural house and a fight over money. I hear the word graves.
What I see frightens me. I see a spider trapped in a jar. There's a kind of curse where someone tries to block all the roads for a person. There's something else. I can clearly hear someone saying that this guy's place is in the cemetery. That's just absurd. But the phrase clearly sounds like he will be buried exactly in that place.
The parents of the deceased meet the psychics in their own home. This is where Mihailo was born and spent almost his entire life.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you very much for coming.
Let's go inside the house. I saw the spirit of some elderly woman near the deceased's mother. She looked very angry, and if she could, she would simply kill this mother. I need to perform a ritual.
Hayal Alekperov is now in Mihailo's room. Everything is as it was during the boy's life. Meanwhile, Zhanna Shulakova went outside.
Yes, I think I'll walk around a bit. The house is disgusting. It's impossible to stay in that room. The atmosphere feels like a tomb. I saw a spider trapped in a jar again. It is so cramped and uncomfortable that it doesn't even have the strength to move.
I'm trying to connect with what happened to your son. I feel it was cold when he died.
It is spring, March.
For me, it's not like this was something the person did intentionally to themselves.
So the young man was killed? Who and why could have done this?
Your son was an incredibly kind and sensitive person. I feel he was a true Ukrainian, a patriot.
Mihailo had a collection of Cossack figurines. He loved Ukrainian literature and from childhood practiced folk dances. His favorite was hopak.
He loved Ukrainian clothing.
I saw your son hanging by a rope, and next to him was some woman.
There's no woman involved at all. I clearly see that the rope is being held by male hands.
I see the image of a woman. I can't say her age or what she looks like, but she is standing next to your son.
Well, the hands I see are only male.
I say what I see, and I see a woman. She really wanted your son to die. I do not sense a man near the deceased at the moment of death.
Who is really behind Mihailo's death? A man or a woman?
I need to visit the place where your son's body was found.
Go to the scene. For me, it's easier to go to the cemetery.
I would like to go with you.
All right.
I'll take you to the cemetery.
Just 15 minutes later, Zhanna Shulakova and the deceased's father, Volodymyr, arrived at the cemetery.
This is my son's burial place.
A strange grave, so close to the neighbors. I sensed that the man buried next to Mihailo was not a relative. But for some reason, there was always some connection between them. We need to speak with the boy. What were you doing that evening? He's arguing with the guy. He's known him for a long time. A friend?
On the last day of his life, Mihailo met up with his friend Sasha. At the time, he was 19. The boys had known each other even before Mihailo met his future wife online.
He said he liked a girl, and he suggested they start dating very quickly.
We chatted online. 2 days later, we met in person. He was kind of sincere, open. After a couple of days, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I agreed. A month later, he proposed.
Everything moved very quickly between them. He said he deeply fell in love and wanted to be with her so much.
Mihailo disappeared on a Sunday. His wife went to visit her parents, and the guys were doing some men's stuff. The deceased had a car, and they decided to wash it.
It turned out Sasha was the last person to see Mihailo alive. That day, Mihailo's wife, Victoria, came home from her parents around 9:30 in the evening, and Mihailo walked Sasha back to his place.
The friend leaves, they part ways.
According to the analysis of Sasha's phone records, he was at home all night. There is no information indicating his involvement in Mihailo's death.
But what happened after the friends said goodbye? Did the young man meet his killer on the way home?
Right at this spot, about 50 meters from the entrance, Mihailo and his friend Sasha parted ways. It was approximately 10 p.m. on March 3rd. Sasha went home to the left. The place where Mihailo Sheramet's body was found is in this direction, about 3 kilometers and 500 meters away. It would have taken him about 30 minutes to walk there.
But how and why did Mihailo end up near the highway?
You know, I get the feeling that Mihailo is walking. He's thinking about something all the time, and he's scared.
Meanwhile, Kayal Alekperov and the deceased's mother arrived at the spot where the young man's body was found.
I feel that same feminine energy again, and your son is in a very strange state. He was very worried about something. At that moment, I felt aggression from some woman, and not just toward the deceased, but toward his entire family. My spirits showed me some house. Your son dreamed of having a place of his own, but he never got the chance to live there.
Yes. We bought a house for our son.
The parents bought the house for 10,000 hryvnias from one of the local elders who lived there with his wife.
We bought the house and took care of the old man and woman who lived there.
Mihailo's parents wanted to renovate that house so he could live there with his wife. But it wasn't meant to be. The young man died under mysterious circumstances.
And what's the name of your son's wife?
Victoria.
I feel that they loved each other, but sometime before the tragedy, they started having some problems in the family. They were arguing.
I saw a vision, like Mihailo was walking around the city, maybe about an hour before his death. And he was very worried about something. I got the feeling that Mihailo's wife might have had someone else. It keeps showing me a circle of family, specifically a wedding. At the wedding, there's an argument with someone who's an outsider.
As it turned out, at Mihailo and Victoria's wedding, there was one of her acquaintances named Alexander. The girl insists he's just a friend, but Mihailo's parents are sure he's her ex-boyfriend.
I've been friends with him since I was 14. He's a very dear person to me. He's always supported me, helped me. Really, he's just a friend.
They all came to the wedding, like a whole crew of her ex-boyfriend's friends. She's still friends with him to this day.
I see some argument at your son's wedding, and it somehow involves Victoria. But I don't quite understand how.
According to Mihailo's parents, there was a conflict between Victoria's friend and their son at the wedding.
There wasn't any conflict between them. We were sitting there and he kind of said to Mihailo, "Let's talk. Don't be angry. Don't get upset. Don't be jealous of me. First of all, I have a girlfriend. And second, she really is just a friend to me. Like a little sister, nothing more."
I think my son might have either suspected something or gotten jealous of her. Or perhaps even caught her in the apartment. Maybe there was some misunderstanding between them. And they got rid of him there.
We need to go and talk to the wife.
Can we meet with Victoria?
Word that the psychics had arrived in the town spread quickly. And when the clairvoyants reached Victoria, she and her mother were already waiting at the gate.
Will you let us in?
I don't want her coming in here. She shouted, threatened my family, and said she'd go to all the churches and light candles so that all my relatives would end up in nooses. After that, should I let her in the house? Never in my life.
God bless your lips if they speak the truth.
What Victoria is saying is truly chilling. Right after the wedding, she and Mihailo lived at her parents' house. One day, he went to visit his mother. When he came back, he started packing his things. He said that from now on, they'd be living at his place.
His mother came here to our house, saying she would go to every church and light candles for the repose of my family's souls. And she was screaming, "I will pray, I will get on my knees. Your family will end up in nooses."
Only after her beloved's funeral did Victoria learn that on that day, her husband intended to end his life.
His mother told me at the funeral that he came home. They quarreled and locked himself in his room. She knocked but couldn't get through to him. Then she forced the door open, broke the latch, and he was jumping back from the wardrobe because there was a rope hanging there.
Was Mihailo truly contemplating ending his life before, and did he finally go through with it?
You have sinned. You sent my child to the grave. Yours is out at bars, running around, while my son lies rotting in the ground.
Aren't you ashamed now after how you all tormented him? Aren't you ashamed to stand here and lie? Were you the one holding the candle?
Then tell me.
Do you see any guilt in yourself?
Explain to me. Why did my child live in your house and end up in the cemetery? Why was he crying here?
He wasn't crying with me. Hit your chest.
A crowd of locals gathered around the deceased's former family, as the women were yelling so loudly they could be heard all over the street.
Let the neighbors stand here as witnesses. Let them say whether my child was running around bars or whether she was working.
Shame on you for talking about this child like that.
May God bless your lips.
I am so sick and tired of all this. Everyone shut your mouths.
The child is like...
Quiet!
We came here to help you understand how your son died, not to get involved in your family issues. If you don't calm down, we won't be able to work.
After those words from the psychic, the women settled down, and Victoria invited everyone into the house.
Now I'm seeing some kind of argument. It happened at your wedding and is connected to money.
The photographer told me to take the largest bills and some dollars, stuff them in my dress like this, fan them out, and take a photo with Mihailo. But Mihailo's mother started making a fuss that a man should hold the money.
It wasn't quite like that. When people gave them money, Mihailo held the bags with it. Then his mother-in-law came over and snatched them from him.
Valentina, I didn't snatch them.
I said, that's the children's money. Give it back to them.
Valentina, that's not what happened. That's not how it was.
I took the money from Mihailo. I said, let me handle it alone.
It wasn't you who took it, Victoria.
I took the bag.
Her mother took it.
Don't I know what I did?
Valentina!
I'm telling you, I took the bag.
You spent that money, right?
That money was used for the funeral.
Who is this friend of yours?
I've been friends with him for 5 years.
Why were your personal life and relationship with Mihailo discussed with him?
Because Mihailo upset me a little. I needed someone to cry to.
Victoria says that after the wedding, Mihailo changed a lot.
The first evening seemed normal, but then every night Sasha started coming over. He was a groomsman at the wedding. They began throwing parties.
So, is Mihailo's friend Sasha, who last saw him alive, to blame for his death?
They drank heavily. Sometimes they would fall asleep in the bathtub. I had to drag them to the couch because they were not in their right minds.
At that moment, I felt that the guy didn't kill him, just like Victoria's friend.
On the night Mihailo died, Victoria's friend Alexander was in Kiev with his girlfriend. His involvement in the murder was not confirmed.
I saw the silhouette of a woman again. There is the spirit of a woman here. She's standing over there, pointing at you with her hand. She says, "They owe me."
A deceased married couple?
That's the grandmother from that house.
Then I understood why from the very start of the investigation, Kayal saw a woman and I saw a man who were somehow involved in Mihailo's death. They were those deceased elderly people. Spirits can kill too, especially if they were deeply wronged in life, which is what Mihailo's parents did.
I see this old woman among other elderly people like herself.
She was in a nursing home. This woman is from that house. The house was transferred to the in-laws. And when that man died, the in-laws were supposed to care for the woman until her death. But she ended up in a nursing home. Before she died, she cursed them a lot.
When I was still at the cemetery, I felt that the man buried next to Mikhailo is connected to the family. It turned out he was the owner of the house now owned by Mikhailo's family.
We cared for those people and didn't have the house transferred to us. We bought it, cared for that man, and buried him. The woman refused.
People say they mistreated that grandmother.
We interviewed the neighbors of the grandmother, named Halina. People told us things that make your hair stand on end. When the elderly woman was taken to the nursing home, she cursed the entire Sheramet family.
Halina cursed them fiercely and said, "One day you will lay all your children next to Anatoly, one by one, God willing. I won't see it, but others will."
The worst part is that Mikhailo was really buried next to the old man Anatoly. But why did Halina wish so much harm on the Sheramet family? Neighbors said that only after her husband's death did Halina realize she was no longer the mistress of the house.
When she found out, there was probably a dispute. After Anatoly's death, they stopped caring for her.
I want to say that all of you are responsible for Mikhailo's death. None of you truly loved him. You all wanted him to do what you wanted. Every one of you was dear to him. But he didn't know how to live in harmony with all of you. You didn't care about what was in his heart, and that broke him.
The boy was caught between two fires. On one side, his parents, on the other side, other parents. What did the boy do? The boy shut himself off. When you came, where did you find Mikhailo with his friend?
In the room.
What did you do? You just snapped. You slammed the door and locked yourself in the kitchen, is that right?
I just closed the door.
The boy was left alone. He couldn't go home because there they'd scold him for getting married. He wanted to show everyone how he felt. Excuse the expression. All of you together drove him to the noose.
You pressured him too much and set the bar too high.
Who? Me?
You all need to understand that the boy was left alone with all of you good people who claimed you loved him. He was left in a vacuum, in a jar, all alone like a spider. He suffocated from your all-consuming love. Stop arguing with each other. Enough. I'm sick of it already. The boy already paid the price for it. Enough. Kayal, we need to go because everything we could say here we've said.
So, did Mikhailo really commit suicide? But the relatives insist they saw marks on his body from a stun gun. Where did they come from?
Most likely, this small mark is an abrasion that formed from the pressure of the knot of the noose. If a stun gun had been used on Mikhailo's body, there would have been a characteristic mark in the form of small, pinpoint burns. This is called an electric mark.
Many thanks to these psychics for figuring out and clarifying this situation. We should have prayed for the child because he was a very good kid.